Capito.
Thank you, Chair Baldwin, and thank you for having the hearing. This is the first labor budget hearing that we've actually had since we took over the reins of the Labor-HHS Subcommittee. So, Acting Secretary Sue, thank you for coming. You did not appear last year in part because the budget came out right as Secretary Walsh was leaving the department. So thank you for being here today to describe the fiscal year 2025 budget priorities for the Department of Labor. First of all, I will say I have had some concerns with the department. There seems to be an agenda to push new regulations that impose layers of red tape and in some cases hurt worker choice. West Virginia needs fewer inefficient and expensive regulations and more job creation. To be clear, not all regulations are bad. I applaud efforts to curb child labor violations that the chair was talking about and to keep hard-working West Virginians, including our minors, safe. So thank you for your efforts there. But this Department of Labor should be focused on workforce training and creating new jobs, not mandating new burdens that take away worker choice and flexibility. For example, the wage and hour division earlier this year changed the rules governing who qualifies as an independent contractor. This new rule imposes a complicated 6-factor test that allows bureaucrats to decide who is and is not an independent contractor, jeopardizing the ability of 27 million Americans to work in a way that best fits their needs and schedules. This regulation takes away the freedom for West Virginia real estate agents, truck drivers, freelance workers, and other self-employed workers to choose their own hours and work around other life priorities, such as going back to school or taking care of your children, raising the children. Another regulation that creates more complexity and undermines workers' livelihood is the so-called ESG investment rule. This rule allows and even pressures retirement fund fiduciaries to consider environmental, social, and governance factors in their investment decisions involving workers' hard-earned life savings. West Virginians who work today and save for tomorrow need to be able to optimize their returns to afford life in retirement. But this rule pressures financial experts to shift potential gains away from American retirees and into the White House's radical climate agenda. And just last month, your department further curbed worker flexibility and imposed sweeping new costs on businesses by drastically increasing the overtime salary threshold. Starting July 1st, West Virginia businesses of all sizes, including nonprofits and small businesses, will have to figure out how to absorb this mandate. This costly change is likely to result in fewer hours worked and more restrictions for employees, and in some cases, even layoffs. Instead of doubling down on this agenda, the Department of Labor should focus instead on job creation in areas of bipartisan support. One area, and the chair also talked about this, where I hope we can find some room for agreement is with the apprenticeship programs. This budget requests an increase of $50 million over fiscal year 2024 for the apprenticeship grant program. While I'm concerned that your budget would use these apprenticeship grant funding to support a green jobs agenda, I remain committed to increasing opportunities for West Virginia to succeed and know apprenticeships can play a key role in that mission. I support registered apprenticeship programs, which is why I'm also concerned about the department's proposal released late last year to completely overhaul the regulations governing the registered apprenticeship program. These proposed changes will make an already complex system even more difficult for employers to navigate. And I think it could reduce registered apprenticeship opportunities for workers across the country. There are a lot of worthy apprenticeship opportunities that don't fit the current registered apprenticeship model. I'd like to see the innovation to expand those apprenticeship opportunities to new programs and fields. In 2022, I secured funding for Marshall University to establish an apprenticeship initiative through Apprenticeships Works to train West Virginians to compete for good-paying long-term jobs across the state. I've also been a longtime champion of expanding and strengthening the early childhood education workforce through apprenticeships. Giving our educators a clear path to successful careers opens the doors to higher quality and better coverage of care, helping both families and child care workers in our state. The Department of Labor should be focused on strengthening workforce development strategies that help all Americans get the skills they need to succeed. Acting Secretary Sue, I hope you will work with this Congress on that goal as we work through the fiscal year 2025 process. And thank you again for being here.